The more I understood about how our food system works, the more that I was moved to change it. 46% of all plastic in the ocean comes from fishing nets. Being able to remove those fishing nets from the oceans by not putting them in the first place is a huge way in which we can change the way we eat seafood.
Finless's mission is to create a future for seafood where the ocean thrives. But in looking at that in the broader picture, I was seeing the movement that was being made by ethical consumerism, and it really isn't going to get us to the climate goals that we have. It's not going to build us to anywhere we need to go if it continues on its current trajectory.
My name is Brian Wires. I'm the CIO and co-founder of Finless Foods. My background is in biochemistry and molecular biology.
My name is Michael, and I am CEO and co-founder at Finless.
I'm Shannon Cosentino-Rausch, and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at Finless Foods.
Finless started for a bunch of reasons. I've always been an environmental activist one way or another. Ended up getting a degree in biochemistry at a school that is mostly for agriculture. And I've always really thought that animal agriculture is one of the biggest ways in which humans impact the environment. So that means it's one of the biggest ways in which we can use it as a lever to push for environmental change.
After meeting my best friend Mike, who I've known for over a decade, he really opened up my eyes to see that there's other applications of science that you can really change the world with. And one of them is creating a sustainable food system where the ocean thrives.
Finless is an alternative seafood company. What that means is we're working to create both plant-based and cell-cultured seafood, with our first emphasis being on tuna. I had a background in international ocean and tuna. It's now been about 2+ years at Finless, and my role has only continued to evolve.
People are concerned by the levels of mercury found in bluefin. People are concerned with the levels of plastic found in bluefin. And people are concerned about the environmental impact of eating a species that's been on and off the threatened species list that currently can't really be farmed economically at scale. Bluefin has some of the highest levels of omegas out of any variety of tuna, and actually out of any variety of fish, period, which is a really massive health benefit that you don't get out of a lot of other types of food. The issue is that a lot of the time, this is paired with higher levels of mercury than you would find in other types of food, as well as higher levels of plastic. It is just an easy move for us to make, where we can sort of meet people where they're at, actually get at the problems that they see with the current food supply, and give them something that meets their desires.
It's really a 5-step process. The first step is you take a sample from a fish. The second step is that you isolate the cells from that sample that are responsible for meat production. For step 3, you grow them in a very food-safe environment. The same way that bricks are laid on a foundation and on a scaffold, our cells are seeded on a plant-based scaffold to be able to jump from the 2D version of culturing into the 3D version of culturing. So those cells are seeded on that scaffold, they grow on that scaffold, and they change into the building blocks of meat on that scaffold. So multinucleated myofibers, basically muscle, fat, and connective tissue. So that's step 4. Step 5, you serve with soy sauce.
In the last 60 to 50 years, our environmental issues have only expanded. Specifically for the ocean, we have continued to fish harder and harder. And so we're getting to a place where we've maximally taken the amount of fish out of the ocean that we can to do so sustainably. At the same time, the global demand for seafood products has only gone up and up, and the projections for the future signal that it will continue to go up. So that basically leaves you with this gap, right, between what we're demanding and what the ocean can sustainably supply.
We can culture cells from fish that other people have never been able to culture or farm or raise in captivity in any way.
On the plant-based side, there's also a lot of nutritional benefits. There are so many plant-based burgers coming out and nuggets and different types of processed products, but there's not been much in the plant-based seafood space particularly. We're hearing over and over the need to increase plant-based consumption in our diets and be conscious of how much plants we're eating. The plant-based tuna naturally falls within that. It doesn't contain seafood allergens, and so if you do have an allergy to any seafood, you would be able to eat our plant-based. And Inherently, it also is sort of low fat, low calorie, low sodium. This is a great alternative for folks who are trying to increase their health consciousness in the way they eat.
The seafood industry is not blind and is not dumb. Like, they understand exactly what's going on. We haven't really gotten any more seafood out of the ocean than we have in the 80s. And we have more boats using more advanced techniques. In terms of aquaculture, that's expanded now to the point where fish farming is 50% of globally consumed seafood. And that's really impressive to scale an industry to the point where it provides 50% of that industry via a totally new technology, a totally new source within 40 years. But the challenges involved in fish farming are nowhere as clear as they are to fish farmers. They understand that there's environmental challenges associated with fish farming. There's a limited amount of space that you can do it in. So basically, they're looking for solutions. They want to make more seafood for people and feed people, and they need new technology in order to make that happen.
This is a brand new industry and a brand new ecosystem. And so the regulatory bodies have been diving in to better understand this technology so that they can ensure that we have sort of pre-market safety so that at the end, we can be deemed safe to go to market.
We have a limited amount of time to be able to solve a lot of these issues. It's not that we inherit the earth from our parents, we're borrowing it from our children. Taking that from future generations, it's gonna stoke that fire. It's gonna really push you forward. It's going to allow you to get out of bed in the morning and be like, what I do really is pushing this forward in a very significant way.
It means giving people another option. It means basically creating a food ecosystem where people can decide on how much environmental impact they'd like to have on any given day, and just reduce things slowly that way. And it means creating a non-judgmental environment.
The choices that we make right now, the decisions that we're moving forward on, they're gonna have a lasting effect, an echo into the future. And we have to make sure that that echo is gonna be something that builds up rather than breaks down. I think that's very empowering. I think that it's where a lot of my passion comes from. This needs to be addressed now. Can't push this off for later. We've already been doing that. And we have to work together in order to achieve our goals.